Hi and welcome back to my channel, Birthing Made Beautiful. Today we have such a beautiful story. We have Jessica who's here and she's going to tell us about her water birth. This wasn't just an ordinary water birth. This was a water birth beyond the waters. She has given birth to 4 beautiful children, but this story is the one that stands out the most. It's very unexpected and it's very, very extremely rare as well. It happens in such a low percentage of pregnant women. That's what makes it so special. So we welcome Jessica. Tell us your story.
Okay. I am a mother of 4 children, 4 beautiful children. I'm a very busy mum. They are aged 6, 9, 10 and 12. God, sometimes it's hard to remember. So they're all quite close in age. They were all born at home. I had water births for all 4 of them. The first birth with my first child was in a pool because I didn't have a bath in that particular property. We only had a shower. So that was not an option to go in the bath anyway. So hence why I bought the birth pool in the first place with the first baby. Second baby, we moved to a flat. There was space to go in the bath in the flat, but the midwives said, nope, not possible. So the second and third baby were born in the pool as well. Fourth baby was born in the bath because it just wasn't feasible to do it in the living room. And I remember being nervous that they were going to not allow me to do that actually. So I'm starting to think, yeah, it must have been spontaneous. But when they arrived, when the midwives arrived, they were quite happy for me to stay in the bath and they were very relaxed about it. So that was a relief. And they were like, yeah, it's fine. There's space. They were just sitting on the floor. I had my partner on the toilet seat, sitting, waiting, helping me. The midwives, one midwife on the floor, the other one in the hallway. My mum was running around, making sure the children were okay. So yeah, it was very relaxed, very convenient. And I labored in the bath and I went on my knees and she came out. So that was the last birth.
That is amazing. Now we're here to talk about birth number 3. Tell us a bit about your miracle birth, birth number 3.
It was a complete surprise how the delivery went. It was a complete surprise. It was a shock, unexpected. It was an unexpected shock on how she was born. Normal pregnancy, no different to the others, just a normal pregnancy. By then I had 2 toddlers. So I had 2 toddlers and then I was pregnant with my 3rd. So as you can imagine, I was very busy. Yeah, so people always ask me what made this pregnancy different and what made this birth different. So I'll tell you what made this birth different to the others is the fact that she was born in the amniotic sac. She popped out in the amniotic sac, fully encased in the sac, fully, which shocked all of us. It shocked the midwives, it shocked me, my mum, my partner. We were all shocked and it was so unexpected.
So when you were pushing, what did that feel like? And then when you pushed her out, what did that look like?
Okay, so the labor itself it felt quite long. I don't remember the hours. I just remember laboring from early hours in the morning to all day and feeling like when is she coming out? What is happening? What is happening? Up until was it late morning, early afternoon? So it was a good few hours. And I remember feeling very tight. The feeling was just very tight, very tight, very tight. And I was wondering, why hasn't my waters burst? Why am I not getting the bloody show? They call it the show. I'm not getting the show. I'm not getting any waters. What is happening? And even the midwives were wondering,
So if you weren't getting the show and your waters didn't break, what were you feeling? Was it just contractions? How were the contractions feeling?
Yes, I was feeling contractions. I was feeling the normal contractions and it was agonizing. And I remember just in the pool, at this point I'm laboring in the pool. I think I had my hypnobirth audio playing because I was doing the hypnobirthing by then. So I was listening to, relaxing. I'll breathe. Da, 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 da. You're going to be okay. I was listening to all this, and I got my 2 toddlers running around, and I remember just laboring in the pool, and it was quite agonizing, because it hurt, and if everything felt tight and everything felt like it was going on for so long. And I remember looking out the window. I wanted the curtains closed. You know when you want everything dark? So I had blackout curtains. I wanted everything dark. But then the midwives needed to see. So there was a little crack of the curtain open, just enough for everyone to see. And I remember looking through the crack of the window and just looking outside, looking at the light, and just thinking to myself, I can't cope. I can't take this anymore. You know that feeling? You're just like, oh, when is this going to end? And then out of nowhere, I let out a huge scream. It was like a, primal, like, ah! Because no, actually before them, I remember what was happening is my 2 children, the 2 toddlers were running around making noise as they do. And I remember I reached a point where I couldn't cope with their noise anymore. I said, get them out of here! But the home births is real life. This is home birth life. This is not sanitized hospital where it's like, it's just you and the doctor and the midwives. This is like family. So I've got my 2 toddlers there, my mum is there. And I remember that I was fine with them for a while, running around, playing. And then it reached, because it was going on, the hours were going on. I remember reaching a point where I was like, I said, get them out of here! I remember saying that. I was like, I can't cope with the noise! Get them out! I remember saying that, and my mum was like, right, she's ready. My mum knew that was a signal that the baby's coming. Because when you can't cope anymore, my mum said, all right, that's a good sign. The baby's coming now, because she can't take it anymore. So my mum got them out the room. But we're getting them out the room, they're going to come back in anyway. But they were out the room in their playroom. And then I knew, it is time. It felt like, okay, something's happening. I remember leaning back, and as I said, I was looking out the window. I think to myself, when is this going to end? I remember just staring out the window, because we had like these French doors that led, we were on the 3rd floor. So I was just looking out, and I remember thinking to myself, I can't cope. And then out of nowhere, this feeling, this tight feeling, this feeling that you can't stop, where you feel like you need to push. And you're not even pushing, the baby's pushing, it's your body's pushing. And then it was like, okay, it's coming. And then all of a sudden I let out a loud roar. I was like, ah! And then she popped out, whoop, into the water, in the sack, like a beach ball. Like a beach ball that is connected to like a spring. When you go on holiday, you get those beach balls connected to that like windy, it was like that. And the windy string is the umbilical cord. It was like that. And she just went plop into the water. It was just like a balloon. It's like a beach ball, like a balloon, just like popped out, plop. And then it was like a relief after that. But it's like, it all made sense why I had that tight feeling and why everything felt so tight and rubbery and agonizing. Because it was like, you've got something in you that's rubbery that just needs to get out. I was like, so she just popped out in the water, plonk. All you're seeing is this grey sack. It's just grey. It looks like a capsule. You're just seeing this grey capsule. And I honestly felt like I gave birth to an alien. I was like, did I just give birth to an alien? It looked alien. Because I'm used to a baby coming out as a baby with the other 2, just normal, oh, okay, the baby's out, oh, it's a baby, you grab the baby and you see your child. But this was like, huh? What kind of alien capsule? Where did this child come from? What kind of predator versus alien? So it was bizarre. And I remember everybody stood back and everybody was like, everybody's reaction, that's all you heard. And I remember my mum was like, we were all stunned, Literally, it was like, gasps. All you heard was gasps. Everybody gasped, like, because we didn't know what it was. We didn't know what's. And then it gradually, you start to register, okay, there is a baby in there. She's just in the sack. because when you look closely, you see that there is a human in there. There is a baby in there, and you can see. Oh, you can see the baby's face, and I could see her face was pressed up against the sack, and her face looked squashed. She looked squashed in there. And her nose was so squashed in there. Her whole face, she looked like she was bursting to come out. It just looked like it didn't get, it didn't get broken. It didn't get popped inside. Obviously, she was squashed in there, you know. And it was like, are you all right in there, you know? But obviously, they're okay because they're not breathing with their nose in there. They're getting all their oxygen via the umbilical cord. But it looks like, oh my God, are you okay in there? So my first thought was, oh my God, please get her out. I want to see if she's okay. That's, you know, I'm just thinking, I want to see my baby. I need to see my baby. I need to know she's okay. I need to know she's breathing. Is she all right? I remember saying that. Is she all right? Is she all right? And the midwives were like, okay. They had to open up their case and get a special tool because they were kind of like, oh, they never dealt with that before. So they were like, okay. They were even talking to each other. Do you have that special tool? Do you know what we have to use in situations like this? And they were like, I think so. I don't know. So they had to open up their bag and look for a special tool. Oh, what do we do? Oh, which one is it? Oh, I think it's this one. And it was like this silver hook kind of thing. And I remember she used it to open the sack, and it was rubbery. It was hard. I remember thinking, don't cut my baby. You know, it was very sharp, like a sharp hook, like a silver sharp hook kind of thing, knife thing. I remember thinking, oh, be careful with that. And she went to cut, and it was so tough. It was so rubbery. And so it wasn't one take. It was like she was kind of tugging. And I remember thinking, oh my God, be careful. And eventually she cut it open, and it kind of just dissolved after that. It kind of like opened up itself, and there was my baby. There she was, and she was.
So did the water gush out once they opened up that sack? Did water release, or was it still rubbery all over?
From what I remember, I think water was released. Well, scientifically, naturally, it would have. But to be honest with you, all I was focused on was the baby. You know that. I wasn't even looking at the sack or the water or anything. I remember I was already in water. We're already in water. So you don't even know where water starts or ends. Do you see what I mean? And all I was focused on was the baby. Is she okay? Is she breathing? You know, because I don't know anything about this. And she was fine. And as soon as, you know, she was out the sack, she began to cry. So I was like, okay, that's a good sign. It was almost like she was quite happy in there. And it was almost like, why did you disturb me? It was, you know, it's like, cut open the sack. She's realized she's out in the open air. It was like, Aah! It was like we disturbed her. It was really like, I was fine in there. Why have you let me out? She was very happy in there, and up to this day, she still sleeps with the cover over her head. And I'm like, why are you sleeping with the cover over your head? Can't you breathe under there? Breathe! But she always sleeps with the cover over her head. She likes to be fully immersed. So I think that's coming from being in the sack.
That is an amazing story. And do you think there's anything that you've done differently while you were pregnant? Like, cases like this are super rare. It like happens in less than 1 in 80,000. There's only that amount of cases out there. So it is really rare. Is there anything you think that you contributed to it going this way? Or do you think it's just nature and, you know, it's just what happens? Yeah.
Well, it's definitely a mix of both. It's definitely nature. Well, it's definitely God. It's all down to God at the end of the day, because God is the one that made us. God, you know, it's all down to God's creation and God's will when you boil down to it. But in terms of my input, what I think also what my input was, what led up to this happening, was I, at the time, was very heavily into spirituality and like practicing well, I would say now, occult practices. I don't do it anymore and I don't condone it anymore, but I was heavily into occult practices. So that was like making altars for different gods and goddesses, manifestation. And I think that I manifested this. I manifested this, and I'm going back in my memory now, and I remember now what I was doing. What I was doing is I had a book called Fantasy Futures. This sounds so ridiculous, but I had a book that I've had since like I was a teenager called Fantasy Futures. And in this book, what you do is you choose a random color, and then you go to a page and then you choose what you would like to manifest, something you want to manifest quickly, or something that you would like to manifest in the next month, or something you would like to manifest in the distant future. So I think I must have picked something like something I want to manifest in the next month. And you go on a random page and basically you draw a picture of what you would like to manifest. And on this particular page, I had picked randomly miracle. Miracles happen. That was the name of my prediction. Miracles happen. So what you have to do is you have to then say, okay, if I'm due a miracle, let me draw a picture of what kind of miracle I would like to happen. Now, I don't actually remember what I drew in that picture. And so I think that through doing that, this miracle happened. That's what I personally think. And I only just remembered that today. Literally, I forgot that I even did that. That's just popped up in my memory. And I remember I did all this during my pregnancy. So I was doing this manifesting and this manifestation during my pregnancy. And I think that without knowing it, unknowingly, I manifested my child's birth. I mean, the birth wasn't a miracle, but it is certainly something that is rare, or it's considered a miracle because it's so rare. So I think it has something to do with that, and also to do with my spiritual practices. Like I was heavily into worshipping and praying to the Orishas, which are like West African gods. So you've got Yemaya, Oshun, Obatala, etc., etc. And I remember going on a seaside trip with my family and going to the sea and praying and doing all this, praying to the goddess of the sea and all this sort of stuff.
Just to stop you there, praying to the goddess of the sea. So do you think like you developed a connection with water, and that's what made your baby, born in her waters?
And I think that all contributed to what happened. Now, I don't do these practices anymore. I don't condone spiritual practices of that sort. I don't do that anymore. And I don't do the manifestation in the book anymore. I've given my life to Christ now, so I don't do any of that. Now, whether or not it's a good or bad thing, I personally think, I don't do that manifesting anymore. I got rid of that book. Because now I'm just like, I just pray about everything. I put everything in God's hands now. But it's not means to say that what happened was bad. Because she's fine, she's healthy. But I don't do that manifesting anymore. I got rid of that book because I'm just like, if you want to manifest or if you want anything to happen, just pray to God. But that's what I was doing back then. Yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing your story with us, Jessica. I love that miracle story. And if you would like to see Jessica's article, because she actually was featured in the newspaper, if you would like to see her article, I've actually left the link in the description below. Mum's Amazing Transparent Balloon Birth. Thank you again, Jessica, for joining us. If you would like to hear more inspiring birthing stories, stay tuned to our channel, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.